to get new powers to curb repeat protests. Oh, is this a massive assault on freedom of speech? Well, the thing is, freedom of speech does have some rules around it. This comes after a pro-Palestinian activist ignored pleas not to stage numerous demonstrations, by the way, not just on Saturday, but on Friday and Sunday as well. Protesters chanted anti-Semitic slogans, carried anti-Semitic placards and banners. I mean, swastikas, usually a giveaway, aren't they? Usually a giveaway. Kemi Badenoch has condemned the UK's tolerance of radical Islamism after the Manchester Synagogue attack, warning that pro-Pal marches and protests, like shouting things like globalise the Intifada, do incite hatred against Jews. So is everyone now on the same page on this? Well, all the sane people. Meanwhile, it has been revealed that the Manchester Synagogue terror attacker Jihad Al-Shamie was a follower of extremist hate preacher who had described Jews as animals. I know, we're all surprised. Oh, this is on top of the fact that he'd made death threats to an MP and was out on bail for rape. I mean, he was an all-round good guy. We should absolutely have kept him in the country, even if he hasn't now been shot dead by police, eh? Plus, I'm going to talk a bit about the Tory party conference. The Tories have demanded the PM must come clean over the collapse of the China spy case. This comes after it emerged that Jonathan Powell, one of the Prime Minister's closest advisers, told a Whitehall meeting the government could not call China an enemy in court. Apart from the fact that they are an enemy state, aren't they? All that, plenty more besides coming up, including some of the big Tory announcements. No benefits for foreigners. Should have thought of that a few years ago. Weren't you in office for 14 years? Better late than never. Mass deportations, that's good to hear as well. But also they're talking about a rather stupid policy about basically giving young workers who get onto the housing ladder £5,000 back from the national insurance for a deposit. So thereby just simply, as always, just raising house prices once again. What we need is to build more houses. I don't know about you lot, I'm in a right old mood today. I'm genuinely so angry at all of the authorities in this country, so angry at so many of the political parties, so angry at just the police, so angry at so many people, but mostly the people who thought it was appropriate to go and protest, I'm not quite sure what they were protesting, on the streets on Friday, in train stations, stopping people going about their lawful business. Why were they not immediately tear-gassed and dragged out of the station? I do not know why. Protesting, supposedly, outside Downing Street, Trafalgar Square, you name it, protest after protest around the country. And what were those protesting against? Against Israel. Against Israel. Not one single protest that I saw, and I saw lots of clips online, didn't go to any of those to go and make my point in person, because not sure I had the self-control to do that. But at least I know that about myself, eh? But not one single chant for Hamas to accept the peace plan on the table. Peace talks starting in Egypt today, not directly between the Hamas and the Israelis, but in separate rooms, but hopefully coming to a deal where we can see the hostages out and hopefully end the war in Gaza. Wouldn't that be great? No, there was no one on the streets of Britain in the last few days calling for the peace plan in Gaza. They were just simply calling on Israel to end the genocide that doesn't exist and displaying swastikas and shouting from the river to the sea, which is about the eradication of Israel. I mean, we know what these marches are about. We know what they're about, and we've known what they're about for a very, very long time. These people are the enemy. And I defended the right of these people to march for a very long time. I really did. It's been 2 years now. This is not about caring about babies in Gaza. Trust me, these people pretend they care about it, and they share the videos of children filmed by Hamas in great distress. This isn't about that. This is about them hating Jews. It's just that simple. And since when did we allow that? We have hate crimes. We have non-crime hate incidents. And people are being arrested for tweets, for stupid things they've said online, for the most mild comments. But organising marches on a regular basis, even after a terror attack, in the same city as that terror attack, when Jewish people are terrified of going to synagogue, being in their homes, told not to congregate. What sort of country are we? A first world country in the 21st century, the country that defeated Nazism, telling Jews, would you mind staying at home and not congregating because we can't protect you? As if that is remotely acceptable. No, the people who need to be dealt with are the people who mean that Jews need to be protected. Because those Jews, by the way, I know most people in this country aren't Jewish. Most of my audience probably aren't Jewish. I'm not Jewish. But the Jews and Israel and the Middle East are standing at the front line of the battle for Western civilization. And the sooner we get that, and the sooner we understand the threat, both abroad and at home, the sooner we will deal with it. But deal with it we must. And to tell you why? Because we don't have a choice. Love to hear your thoughts. Give us a call, 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222. Get in touch with us on X at Talk TV. Calls are charged at the national rate. Text cost £1. Standard network rate message. In particular, I want to hear from you. Should these protests be banned? Basically, the powers going to be given to the police, we understand, from the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, far too late to ban all these repeat protests after those rallies went ahead after the synagogue terror attack. What do you make of that? Do you think they should be? Do you think they shouldn't be? Is it an attack on free speech? I want to hear your thoughts. First, let's get the thoughts of Claire Pearsall. She's a former Conservative government advisor, and she very much preferred to come and join us in the studio here and go to Conservative Party conference in Manchester. We also decided to wear matching outfits today. We did. Both in blue. Yes. Anyway, good morning to you. Sorry, I've yapped on for quite a long time, but my God, there's been a lot to say since Thursday. Now, you were with me in the studio on Thursday when the horror of the synagogue attack.
No, it was the day before. I was listening
apologies.
to you. I was listening to you
apologies
on Thursday.
I thought my brain's gone. It's all bundled into one. Where are you on all of this, really?
It's horrendous, and I share your anger, and I was really angry last week, and over the weekend I've moved into what my mother would have lovingly referred to as severe disappointment, where you just want to hide your head in your hands and say, what on earth are we doing as a country, telling a community of people to just stay at home? Just don't go out anywhere.
Black people, would you mind awfully staying at home?
Well,
because there might be some attack. Black people, would you mind? Would you mind just staying at home? I mean, can you imagine the outcry? Don't congregate in together because you might be at risk. Do you think that anyone would think that was acceptable?
Well, they wouldn't. It's the same as saying a group of women don't congregate together, don't go out.
They do tell us that, to be fair.
We don't pay much attention
to
because I still go out. But it's, why are we doing this? Why are we allowing week after week after week anti-Semitism to go out of control, for the Jewish community to be targeted, to be abused, to be scared and to be attacked? And that's all right.
But
why?
But Israel. That's what I mean. Genuinely, I cannot get over how much TV I've seen this weekend. I always like to look at lots of different channels, so I don't stay in my bubble. And the amount of times it was like, well, you mustn't hold the Jewish people in Britain to account for what the Israeli government does. Well, of course not. But that's literally what those people are doing. I mean, the man Jihad. I mean, there were clues, people. His father came from Syria and he called his son Jihad Al-Shamie, the terrorist, thankfully dead. And may you rot in hell, sir. May you rot in hell. He called you. There were so many clues about that he was a risk. I mean, I think the death threats to an MP. Yeah. I think out on bail for rape. Oh, it's funny, you don't get out on bail if you write a tweet, but you get out on bail if you alleged rapist. I mean, interesting choice there from the from the CPS and the police, but you followed a hate preach. I mean, he was known, it was obvious. But I mean, he said, apparently one of the things he shouted, and people who were holding the door of that synagogue closed to him while he was trying to get in was, this is for the children. This is for the children. What is he talking about? He's talking about the children in Gaza, right? Yeah. Who everyone claims are being genocided by the Israeli government. No, they're not. But when those lies are perpetrated by the British media and by the BBC, of all places, most trusted broadcaster in the world, and it's a lie, and there's not a single presenter or war reporter on that station that doesn't know it's a lie. I defy them. They are too experienced to think that what's happening in Gaza is extraordinary in any way other than the IDF has a lower rate of civilian deaths to combatant deaths than any war ever. Not a higher one, a lower one. And they're still perpetrating that lie. And that lie has fed into the sky.
And it has, and you can see the clues were there. When you look at the sort of reports on his past, he started showing an interest in Islam in 2018.
But Islamic is extremist Islam.
Extreme. So he had not been able to hold down a steady job. He dropped out of university. He was smoking marijuana. He was having an unhealthy interest in online Islamic.
I mean, he's literally postings. Classic, but not referred to prevent.
Absolutely. And now I'm prevent trained. I have to do that as part of my school governor role. So I have been through my prevent training, and that is one of the red flags right at the beginning. This is not an unusual thing to have, and he should have been flagged up. His family should have flagged him up. So should the university for dropping out, because that's another sheer sign of this kind of behaviour. But what do? We look at that and say, oh, well, you know, lessons must be learned. Well, I'm so sick of it. So sick of that.
I mean, they're not. I remember being on air here in 2017 after the Syrian attack, and they were doing that "Don't look back in anger" nonsense, and the candles and things. Look, whatever the victims and their families need to cope, you do you. I'm not judging you. Precisely. But the idea that our politicians, our police and everyone else should talk about community cohesion and not looking back in anger. No, we should be angry. We should have been bloody angry from 2005 onwards with the 7/7 attacks. Yeah, and we have imported this issue. And I'll go through it a little bit later in the show, but genuinely, virtually, not all, but virtually every single terror attack in this country has been perpetrated by someone who has either come to Britain themselves or from abroad, usually from, you know, a Middle Eastern country, North African country or Pakistan, or they have been brought as children by parents from those countries, and then we're told, oh, they're homegrown Islamists. Sort of homegrown. I mean, you know, like this guy, Jihad Al-Shamie, he was British. Brilliant. He was given British nationality at the age of 16. His parents came from Syria. I mean, again, he was called Jihad. Do you know what? I mean, oh, it means struggle, yeah, of course. And the Met Police have told us, haven't they? Oh, jihad. It doesn't mean, you know, holy war against Jews. Of course it doesn't. I mean, well, it does. I mean, it does. It's one of its many meanings. I mean, imagine how we would look on someone who called their kid Adolf.
Yes.
It's like the fact that, you know, Yahya Sinwar, the leader of the Hamas October the 7th attacks. Big increase in children, little boys in this country being called Yahya. Yeah. In the last couple of years. I wonder why that is. Oh, that's a nice name. That's a nice name. We should call our kid that. There are clues, guys. There are clues. The people on the streets are the clues. You know the people I hate the most of this? Genuinely. It's the Phoebes. It's those stupid little posh girls and little posh, I don't know, the Tristrams or whatever they are. Those little privileged little twits. Not the vowel I want to use. Who stand there and they're all sort of like, oh, we're so cool. We're so like, oh, we've got all the virtue signals, we've got all the flags in our bios. They believe every bit of nonsense. These people have gone to the top private schools often and are barely literate. I mean, God knows what your parents must be thinking. What a waste of money. And they prance around. They're at every single demo going, because I'm not sure they've got a job, because we're paying for them, no doubt. But I mean, these kids, I mean, and they know better. They know better, and they lead these marches. They're happy to. If you were on a march where someone has got a banner saying, you know, from the river to the sea, that means we want to annihilate Israel and all the Jews. It's a Hamas slogan. If you're on a march where someone has got a swastika on and also referring to the Jews as Nazis, you don't want to be on that march. If you're on a march that is the same day or the day after, the 2 days after, a terror attack on the very people who you apparently blame for the thing you're marching at, you don't want to be on that march. And if you're on a march when there's a peace plan that one side is accepted in a war that you claim is genociding an entire people and killing innocent babies. You claim this is the most awful war and there's starvation and genocide going on. If you are not on that march calling for one thing only, which is Hamas, you must accept that peace deal. As I said, you don't care about the babies dying, you care about hating Jews. That's all it is. That's all it is. There's no other explanation, is there?
Well, of course there isn't, but these are the same people that will then go and protest about climate change, and they'll go and
just move,
you know, chain themselves to trees. It's the Sebastian.
It's trans.
It is. It's the Sebastians and the Tarquins and the Phoebes who have done gender studies at Polytechnic. It's those people. I can't stand them because they will just go from cause to cause to cause without having any idea what it is they're actually protesting against.
Again, here's thing. Which river, which sea? Yeah. There's your first question. Yeah. And wasn't it interesting, Matthew Said, who's a Sunday Times columnist, we've had him in the studio many times, one of the most sort of lovely, polite, thoughtful, interesting. Yeah. He's not, I mean, you know, not party political, he's very nuanced in his thinking. And he went along and he asked people, like, really friendly, just, you know, can I just ask you, you know, your views on this or that? And, you know, and people were so aggressive to him. And he said, basically, apart from two people, he spoke to like 24 people, and apart from two people who were very polite, friendly and engaged with him. He was basically sort of, shouted at and told to go away. And I mean, these people, we need to be safe from these people, and these people need to be safe from themselves. What's the answer? Is the answer banning these marches? Because as a general rule, I want an anti-lockdown march. I want the march against anti-Semitism. People should be allowed to march, but is there an argument that these have gone on too long? That they, you've used up your quota.
Yes.
That they are intimidating. That these people. I mean, are these people should they be considered to be lawbreakers?
Oh, you see, this is where it's really difficult, because if you'd asked me this last Thursday afternoon, I would have said ban them all, never have another one.
But we shouldn't have knee-jerk legislation.
No, we shouldn't, because that's very bad legislation. But I worry that by allowing the government to suggest that they can use all the powers that they have, and they could have stopped these marches over the weekend. They absolutely had the powers. I mean,
you used to work in the Home Office. Yeah. The idea they don't have the power is nonsense. They have banned marches before.
Yeah, they do. But I think that we need to start holding the protest organisers to account, including putting them in prison if there are severe breaches of the law.
A lot of them have strong links with Hamas.
Yeah,
it's a small point worth making.
Prescribed
terrorist group.
Yeah, so that's a
if you're going to go and have an I Support Palestine Action T-shirt, you know the drill. You want to do that, that's fine. But you're going to get arrested.
But yeah, enjoy your time in Charing Cross Police Station. But I do worry that if we allow the government to go too far, that any protest that they don't like is going to be banned, and we'll all end up
intimidating a minority community. Oh, well, in that case, women can't protest against trans. Yeah. And that's a difficult decision. But the key thing is here, we see law breaking again and again and again at these protests, and the police don't step in because they fear disorder. When it's a so-called far-right march, when it's, Tommy Robinson and is not, they're there with the riot gear, they're ready to step in. Yeah. So if it's a peaceful march, but the police fear stepping in when people are blatantly breaking the law with clear anti-Semitic signs and chants, then it's not a peaceful march.
No,
I mean, if Gideon Falter, if he could be told you need to leave because you're being openly Jewish. If being openly Jewish is a provocation, for instance, if I went along one of his marches and I wore my Israeli flag, and if I had a banner up saying, free Palestinians from Hamas, if someone thought that was provocative to the extent that that would cause disorder, that's not a peaceful march.
No, but these people know full well what constitutes a peaceful march, and they know full well that calling for the globalise the Intifada and from the river to the sea, they know that that is inciting people. They know full well, they've been told time after time over the last 2 years that that is wrong, do your homework, be better than this, and they're not. And when you ask them what they're protesting for, which is why I thought Matthew Syed's piece was really, really good, they cannot explain. So if you can't explain what it is you're actually there for, and what it is you're protesting for or against, then you shouldn't be there. I think that we need to have an IQ test for people on protest.
Well, just a simple knowledge test. You can go through, but you need to, I've always felt that about climate change stuff as well. What do you make of Gary Neville, Sky Sports, but he's done a video. There's these people walking along doing videos. I mean, seriously. There's call for a boycott of Sky Sports. Gary Neville's paid one bit million a year. But he made let's face it, a racist outburst, basically, talking about what's happened, and then talking about the Union flags and the England flags everywhere, and how this was just stirring up division. And then it's angry middle-aged white men who are creating division. I mean, seriously, mate, if you think that's some of the people doing those flags absolutely are stirring. Of course, the vast majority of people not. Here's the thing: have we got into a situation in our country where our flags, our national flags, are divisive? If you think that the England flag or the Union flag is divisive, you're the problem, not the person who's put the flag up, and they're making a point. Now, Gary Neville, unlike Gary Lineker when he was on the BBC payroll and I had to pay his wages, whether I watched BBC or not, Gary Neville has got the right to say anything he darn well pleases. Yeah. It's just, it seems really clear to me that Gary Neville should stick to football, about which he knows an awful lot, and like many of these celebs and footballers, doesn't really know what he's talking about when it comes to a lot of these other political issues. But if he had said, division is being created by angry middle-aged black men or angry middle-aged Muslim men, he'd be off air today, right? Yeah. What's the difference? Well, what's the difference? Oh, and by the way, if it was written up by the BBC or any of the newspapers, white, by the way, never capitalised, black, capitalised. Because for some reason, black gets capital letter but white doesn't. Just saying. I don't know when that rule started, but it started. I'm just saying, you can't.
No, you can't. But
You just can't.
When I
the
saw
rules have got to be the same for everyone.
They do, but when I saw it and he was going on about angry middle-aged white men, and I just thought, says the angry middle-aged white man holding a phone in front of his face.
I mean, literally.
What are you doing? I don't care, Gary. I mean,
A lot of us are in denial about being middle-aged, by the way.
Well, I'm
just saying, I'm in denial.
heavily one of
I'm in
those.
denial.
But then I'm not walking down the street with.
I'm an angry middle-aged white woman. But I'm angry about the right things.
Well, obviously, I mean, I'm there with you. I'm very angry about stuff. But do I care what he thinks? No. It's nice to know where he stands.
I want freedom of speech. Oh, no, he's right. He's free to say it. I've got no issue. I don't want him sacked. But I'm just saying. Why are the rules different? Why are the rules different? It's as simple as that. And again, I just say, if you think that people putting up your national flag is divisive, this country's got way more problems than flags. Should we let other people have their say? There's a full board of calls. I'm not surprised by that. So much to talk about today.